What's up, guys? Tricks Ridiculous back with another video, and in this one we're going to talk about a little trick that will give you a very large boost to your defense across all characters, and it's actually using comic books. If you're a new player to the game, this is definitely something you should go and do immediately. And even if you're a veteran player, this is actually not super common information, even across veteran players. It's kind of, when you see what it is, you might call it a glitch, but honestly, it's not a glitch in any way that the players are doing. It's really just a weird, for whatever reason, weird stat that the game has that you can kind of apply to yourself. Maybe the stat will get tuned in the future, but either way, so it has to do with comic books. Before we get into that, be sure to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. But without further ado, let's jump right in. Now, normally comic books, I would not recommend grinding them at all. They are very, very small buffs, pretty much across the board. Even if you get them to the higher tier levels, you'll see on the right-hand side, very minute little, peaky bonuses there. It's really not going to accumulate to much for the effort that you have to put in, but there are a couple of these comic books that for whatever reason give a much larger buff than they're probably intended to. So those are the comics you're going to want to get. All right. Now, there are essentially three of them that can do it. The one we're going to focus on today is actually the Hawkeye one, because it's the only one you can realistically farm. Unfortunately, comic books right now are a little random to farm outside of a couple. But basically, you'll see here in this Hawkeye set, one of these comic books gives 11% armor. That's a very big jump. You'll see here, the one I have, it's at tier 2. So when you just have it at tier 1, which means you've gotten at least one of the comic, it'll be at 1% armor, okay? When it goes to tier 2, which means you've gotten 5 or more, it will immediately jump to 11% armor. There's no rhyme or reason for the jump. For whatever reason, it just gives a way bigger chunk of its stat than any of these other stats that you get, okay? And before you ask, no, it doesn't jump to 22, 33, 44. It's, there's really no point grinding past tier 2, but get it to tier 2. It'll give you a flat 11% armor, and that's across all of your characters. So big defensive buff. If you don't know, armor is basically flat damage reduction. So essentially 11% armor right off the top. Now, I'm focusing on the Hawkeye one, like I said, because that's the one you can realistically farm. I do also have another one here. This is the Avengers, one of these Avengers ones. Here it is, Avengers 1964 number 4. Same deal with this one, okay? When it's at tier 2, it's 11% armor. Now, you can randomly get these comic books from DNA key chests. Unfortunately, there's no really good way to farm specifically for this comic book, but if you do happen to see that you got this one, or you happen to see that it becomes the the weekly what's it called, the harm room comic book, definitely that's the time to grind for it to get it to tier 2, because you'll get that additional. So across this comic book and the Hawkeye comic book, my characters are all getting a flat 22% damage reduction, which is a huge damage reduction. This essentially adds about 400 points to your defense rating on any of your characters before doing anything else. Now, there is also a Black Panther comic. I don't even have level 1 of it, but one of these, there is also another Black Panther comic that does the same thing, does that 11% armor. Unfortunately, just like the Avengers one, there's really no good way to farm it. These two are just really kind of completely random. You just got to get lucky to get them. But the Hawkeye one, this is what I'm recommending in this video. The Hawkeye one is one you can actually grind for. So the way to grind for it, it's very simple. You just do the Hawkeye harm room training. Now, it's pretty monotonous. It's a pretty boring thing. It kind of just brings you through all of his heroics and things like that. But honestly, it shouldn't take you more than a minute or two. And what you will get from that is effectively one comic book. So it will be random. So you'll see there's a set of 7. All right, so there's 7. It'll give you one from this set. So there's 7 different ones you could get. All right, so it can be a little random, but there's no time gate on it. You can do it as many times as you want to try to get it. It took me a number of tries just because, you're getting random ones, and you have to get 5 of the same, all right? So whenever you see this one with the cat walking in blood, this is the one to get here. So basically get to 5 of it, you'll get that flat 11% armor. That's definitely worth doing regardless. All right, and then like I said, the Avengers one and the Black Panther one, that grant armor, those are just ones to keep your eyes out for if you just happen to randomly get comics in the wild. But definitely go into Hawkeye's harm room and try to get this comic here for the 11%. It's just an easy way across all your characters to get a flat 11% armor. And like I said, not a lot of people know about this. It's a little cheesy, I will admit, but it's not really an exploit that anyone's doing. It just happens to be a funky stat, right? So I don't really consider this cheating or cheesing in any way, but definitely go ahead and grab this. If it does get tuned, whatever, you'll still just have the comic books. You'll still get whatever buff they tune it down to. But I would recommend right now grinding for this to give you that little extra tankiness for when the raid comes out. But anyway, that's all I've got for you guys in this one. If you did learn something in this video, be sure to leave a like. And if you like this type of content, be sure to subscribe as well. Leave me a comment down below. All that stuff helps the channel, and I really appreciate it. That's it for me in this one, guys. I'll see you in the next one.